Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, do you have the script from yesterday?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up from yesterday. Should have it in my. It's the whiteboard from yesterday. It's the whiteboard from for the whiteboard up from yesterday. Okay. All right, let's pull up the whiteboard from yesterday. All right. So I can follow along. All right, you can start whenever you want. I want to hear, remember, I want to hear you I want to hear the pauses. I want you to speak clearly. I want you to speak slowly. All right, and I want to hear intonation, stressing words that are important. Okay, and ideas that are important.
Can I start now?
Yep, I'm waiting for you.
Okay. While I was watching the news with my father, I learned that interesting relationship may exist between cancer and soft drinks. The news program sparked my curiosity regarding the possible relationship between drinking soda and cancer. After conducting my research, I found that fizzy drinks contain possible carcinogens. However, experts believe these products are safe when people consume them within the recommended daily limit. Carcinogens are ingredients that are known to be cancerous. Consumers should not drink more than 40 mg per 1 gram of that person's weight. People must make every attempt to avoid soft drink to stay healthy and reduce the risk of cancers.
All right, not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right. Now I want you to do it one more time. And I want to hear more intonation this time. So the pauses were good. Make sure you pronounce every word clearly. Pronounce every word clearly. You started off great. You started off perfect. Okay. Towards the end, you kind of some words like per. Okay. Okay, per 1 gram of that person's weight. All right. Okay. While I was watching the news with my father, I learned that an interesting relationship may exist between cancer and soft drinks. The news program sparked my curiosity regarding the possible relationship between drinking soda and cancer. After conducting my research, I found that fizzy drinks contain possible carcinogens. However, experts believe these products are safe when people consume them within the recommended daily limits. Carcinogens are ingredients that are known to be cancerous. Consumers should not drink more than 40 milligrams per 1 gram of that person's weight. People must make every attempt to avoid soft drinks to stay healthy and reduce their risk of cancer. All right, so take a second, get yourself together. I want to hear intonation of the voice up and down. You want to stress words that are key, words that are important to the meaning of your paragraph. Okay.
Okay. I think I
Take a
was fast.
No, you were
And I'm
fine. Your speed was
okay.
fine. Your speed was fine. The first part was perfect. It's just when you got to the middle, you started to not pronounce every word and you start to lose your intonation. So continue your intonation all throughout the talk, okay?
Okay.
I'm waiting on you whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can I start? Can I start?
Whenever you're ready. Whenever
Okay.
you are on you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay. While I was watching the news with my father, I learned that interesting relationship may exist between cancer and soft drink. The news program sparked my curiosity regarding the possible relationship between drinking soda and cancer. After conducting my research, I found that fizzy drinks contain possible carcinogens. However, experts believe these products are safe when people consume them within the recommended daily limit. Carcinogens are ingredients that are known to be cancerous. Consumers should not drink more than 40 milligrams per 1 person's weight. People must make every attempt to avoid soft drink to stay healthy and reduce their risk of cancer.
Much, much better. Much better. Say this word, carcinogen.
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 When you see a word that you feel a little uncomfortable with, just say it slower. Okay? Just say it slower. Carcinogen.
Okay, carcinogen.
All right. That's the only word. And expert. Expert.
Expert.
Expert. Yep. Carcinogen. Remember, open your mouth when you're reading in English or you're speaking in English. You're gonna sound a little weird. You're gonna, well, not sound weird, you're gonna sound good, but you're gonna feel weird. You know, experts believe the more you open your mouth and you use your tongue and your lips and your cheeks and your eyes and your eyebrows and your hands, the better you sound. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So actually, that was really good. I can tell that you practice. Very good. All right. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna read and do some reading and then some writing. Okay. So I'm
Okay.
gonna, let's look at No, this is what I want to do. Don't want to do that. Should I move on to that? Okay, before we do that, let's do this. Let's do this before we do that. Let's make sure you understand the different types of sentences.
Okay.
Check, 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 check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right, tell me one type of sentence.
A simple sentence.
What is a simple sentence?
The simple sentence, it's one ID, including one
One what?
ID. One
Simple
ID.
sentence is what? One what?
One idea.
One idea. All right. Give me an example of a simple sentence.
Okay. Okay. I am going to the gym.
I am going to the gym. Very good. I am going to the gym. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
All right, I am going to the gym. Look at this. What punctuation do I need?
Where?
Do you see my screen? I am going to the gym. Can you see my screen? Do you see my screen?
No.
You don't see my screen? What's going on? You see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
All right, what punctuation is needed?
What it's need? Sorry.
No, I'm asking you, what punctuation does this sentence need?
Punctuation like what?
Punctuation, like a question mark, a full stop, exclamation point,
Full
colon,
stop.
needs a full stop. Very good. All right. What is a compound sentence?
Compound sentence. It's have two idea.
Yep.
Subject and verb, but then after that conjunction.
Okay.
After subject and verb.
Okay. Give me an example of a compound sentence.
Okay. Mm. 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 Just 1 minute. Mm. Okay.
All right.
Okay. I go to the shop. But my mother tells me no.
Tells me what? Not no,
No.
finish it.
Uh,
No, finish it up. Tells me
don't go to the shop.
not to go.
Not to go.
So that means if we do that, um, we gotta change this part of, remember, the two clauses, right? They have to have a relationship, right? Remember, the two clauses need to have a relationship.
Yes.
Okay, so if I say, but my mother tells me not to go, what do I need to change here? Not I go to the shop, but what?
I will.
Not I will. I what?
I am.
No,
Uh,
you said, look at the second clause. My
yes.
mother tells me to go. So what do we need here? I
and my
no,
mother. What?
no. Your mother says not to go, right?
Yes.
So what would make this clause make more sense, the first clause? Now I go to the shop, because the mother says not to go.
Yes.
I
I'm not.
want, I want. I want to go to the shop, but my mother tells me not to go. Okay.
Okay.
What punctuation do we need now?
Full stop and comma
Where's the comma?
before but.
Why did we put a comma before but?
Because we use the comma before the conjunction.
Perfect, perfect. Always a comma before the conjunction. Okay. All right. So we got simple. And we have compound. Can you tell me what a complex sentence is?
Complex sentences. It's have one idea.
One idea and what else?
It's independent or dependent clause.
So you have one idea and one dependent clause. Can you give me an example of a complex sentence?
Okay.
You need help?
No, just 1 minute. Thank you.
Take your time.
Okay, I'm finished.
All right.
I will go to the market
I will go to the market
because my sister wants tomato.
because my
Needs
sister
tomato.
needs tomatoes. Okay, perfect. What punctuation do we need here?
Comma
Where?
before because.
Nope.
No, after
No,
because.
Not with subordinators. All right. Now remember, not with subordinates. Remember, you have two different types of conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions for compound sentences, you always need them. But when the dependent clause comes second, this is your dependent clause right here. Remember, we don't need comma. When the
Yes.
dependent clause comes second, meaning you never put a comma in front of a subordinating conjunction. Never. Never a
Okay.
comma subordinating conjunction. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Um, all right. Mm, let's do this. Let's talk about punctuation. Now, full stop. In America, we call a full stop a period. Okay. And it looks like this, right?
Yes.
Then you have a question mark, which looks like this. And this is used. So full stops are used to complete ideas. Okay. We use the question mark for when?
After the question or
After a
for
question.
questions?
For questions. We use a question mark at the end of a question. What about an exclamation point? When do we use that? You know when we use an exclamation mark? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I wasn't. Your voice was cutting. Yes.
Yeah, so when do we use exclamation mark?
Um. Uh. After a surprise sentence or
Yeah, after strong emotions. So an idea with strong emotion. Now, typically in academic writing, we really don't use exclamation marks. Typically. Okay.
okay. With
What about a comma?
between two ideas.
All right. Now, comma is probably the hardest one because commas have many usage, many reasons why we can use a comma. So I think that's what we'll talk about today. We'll talk about the infamous comma because
Okay.
the comma has so many different usage, and it's the hardest and the most incorrect used punctuation is the comma. So let's talk about the comma today. I think that's before we move forward anywhere else. Make sure you have your punctuation down. Do you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
What do you see now?
I see files.
Does it say the English House of Commas? Do you see that?
No.
Why is it not coming up? Okay, let me try now. See the English House of Commas now?
Yes, I can. Yes, I see.
So let's take some notes on this, okay? I'm gonna go slow. Tell if I'm going too fast, let me know.
Okay.
As I said before, commas have many usages, and they are the most incorrectly used punctuation mark. Okay. All right. And it is one of the most common used, and it's the most incorrectly used punctuation mark is the comma. Because what happens is when people feel like something's wrong in a sentence, they just put a comma. Like, oh, I'll just throw a comma there. All right, which may or may not be correct. All right. So first, we use a comma to set off the elements of a series of items. So if you want to list many items, like let's say you want to list fruits. So my favorite fruits are apples, comma, oranges, comma, grapes, comma, plums, comma, and bananas. You see?
Yes.
So you see, so my favorite uses of the internet. So my favorite uses of the internet are sending emails, comma, surfing the web, comma, and using chat rooms. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, this comma here, they call it the Oxford comma, right? This is called the Oxford comma. Now, as an American, I was always taught that this comma wasn't really necessary. I start to use it now because I use Grammarly a lot, and Grammarly likes the Oxford comma, so I'm beginning to use it. So you'll find some teachers to say that this comma is necessary, and you'll find other teachers who will say that this is not necessary. It depends on where they're from. Okay, the comma in front of and. Okay, but
Yes.
if you're not sure, just put the comma in front of the last one. Okay. Mm. All right. So what they're saying here is you should always use the comma. All right. But again, certain teachers will tell you that this is unnecessary. It's just good to just go ahead and use it anyway. It's called the Oxford comma, or some people call it the serial comma. All right. Use a comma in coordinating conjunctions and, but, or, nor, for, yet, so, to separate independent clauses. Oh, we saw that word before, right? Those words.
Yes.
So you already know that. We use a comma to separate independent clauses that form what? Compound sentences. All right. The public seems eager for some kind of gun control legislation, comma, but the Congress is obviously too timid to enact any truly effective measures. So we got that subject verb, comma, independent clause here, because I could put a full stop here, and this sentence can be by itself. But because we want to show the relationship between these two ideas, we use a compound sentence and we use the coordinator but to show the difference between these two independent clauses. And we form a compound sentence. You got your subject verb here, and then complete idea. If the two independent clauses are brief and nicely balanced, the comma may be omitted, but the comma is always correct. Again, as an American, we were taught that if you have two short independent clauses, you don't need the comma. But I say always put the comma in front of compound sentences, always. But again, depending who your teacher is, they might say, well, this comma is not really necessary because the sentence is short and balanced. But you can never be wrong by putting a comma between two independent clauses. You never can be wrong. Okay?
Yes.
All right, well, you use a comma to start off an introductory element. All right, an introductory element is nothing more than an introductory phrase. You wrote one yesterday when you wrote, what was the sentence? After I did my research, something like this.
Yes.
No, not, no, no, it wasn't that. That's not introductory. That would be a dependent clause. What was it? I forgot what it was. But introductory phrase, remember we went over the difference between a phrase and a clause. A phrase doesn't have a verb, right? Phrase doesn't have a verbs. So what
Yes.
phrases is they are modifiers. They provide context. Remember that word, context. They just describe the situation or give you more information about the situation at hand. Okay. Anxious about the upcoming winter. Anxious about the upcoming winter, settlers begin to bicker amongst themselves about supplies. Which part do you think is the introductory phrase?
The first part.
First part. Why? Why is that an introductory phrase? Why is that a phrase?
Because it's used about.
Because what?
Because it's have about.
Because it has a about? No.
About.
No. What did I say a phrase was? What did we say a phrase was? Phrase never has a what?
Subject.
And a what?
And verb.
Mainly a verb, but typically a subject and a verb. Is there a subject in that group of words that are anxious about the upcoming winter? Is there a subject?
No.
Remember, a subject, I didn't tell you this, and shame on me. I don't remember telling you this. Write this down.
Okay.
Write this down. Very important to know. Subject, a subject does the action. Because sometimes the subject is hard to find in a sentence. All you have to do is ask yourself, who is doing or what is doing the action? Whatever is doing the action is the subject. Whatever is doing the action is the subject.
Yes.
Okay. I want you to put this in, just remember. All right, remember I tell you this, okay? Remember, I have told you this, rather. Remember, I have told you this. There, THERE, can never be a subject. All right. There can never be a subject. The subject, when there is the first sentence, the first word of a sentence, the subject actually is the next noun after the verb. All right. When there is the first word of a sentence, the subject is always going to be after the verb.
Okay.
So for instance, there are 5 apples on the table. There are 5 apples on the table. There are 5 apples on the table. There
Yes.
are 5 apples on the table. What is the subject?
There is no subject.
Oh, listen, what did I
Are
just say? This, when the first word of a sentence, when a sentence starts with the word there,
there?
the
Yes.
subject is going to be the first noun after the verb. The subject will be the first noun after the verb. There are 5 apples on the table. So what's the subject?
When there is when we start the sentence with there, can you say it again?
When we start the sentence, when the sentence is started with the word there,
Yes.
subject will be the first verb, excuse me, the first noun after the verb. Subject will be the first noun after the verb. There are 5 apples on the table. There are 5 apples on the table. What is the subject?
On the table.
No, listen to me.
Okay.
When the sentence starts with the word there,
Yes.
the subject will be the first noun after the verb. The first noun after the verb. There are 5 apples on the table. What is the subject?
There.
The subject is what?
There.
Didn't I just say there can never be the subject?
Okay. Are.
No, I'm gonna say it one more time. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm saying. There can never be the subject. The word
Yes.
there is never the subject. When a sentence starts with the word there, the subject is the first noun or nouns after the verb. The subject is the first noun or nouns after the verb. There are 5 apples on the table. What is the subject? Think about it. Write the sentence down. Write that sentence down.
Yes, I wrote.
There are 5 apples on the table.
Apples.
Apples. Because apples is the first noun after the verb are. Okay?
Okay.
So remember, subject is always always the person, place, or thing that is doing the action. The subject is always the person, place, or thing that is doing the action. Okay? All right. All right, in that second sentence, what is the phrase?
The second sentence.
Yep.
It's a verb here. The first sentence.
In the second sentence, what is the phrase?
Stills.
In the second sentence, what is the phrase? Tell me the introductory phrase.
Okay. In the winter
Continue it.
of 1644.
Right. Why is that a phrase?
Because it doesn't have verb or subject.
There you go. And it provides what? It provides context to the rest of the main clause. What is the independent clause or the main clause of this sentence?
The independent clause in the winter of
Yeah, the second sentence.
1644.
What is the independent clause?
The independent clause is in the winter in this sentence.
And how is that? Hold on a second. How is that going to be an independent clause if it's a phrase? How's that going to be a clause in a? So what is the main clause?
In the winter.
Young lady, didn't you just tell me in the winter of 1644 was the phrase?
Yes,
You
it's
said
the phrase.
phrase, right? So if it's the phrase, how can it be the clause? A phrase can't be a phrase in a clause.
Okay.
So what is the main clause in this sentence?
Nearly half of.
Just say it. Come on now.
Okay. Nearly half the settlers date of
died.
Startless died of
Starvation.
starvation or
In the winter of 1644, nearly half the settlers died of starvation or exposure. Read that again.
In the winter of 1644, nearly half the starvation date of starvations or exposure.
Look at my face. Settlers. Settlers.
Settlers.
Died. Look at my tongue. Died. It's at the roof of my mouth. Died.
Okay. Die.
Of starvation. Or, look at my mouth. Or exposure. Exposure. Right. I could tell that you're not opening your mouth. I don't even have to see your face. Okay? I don't have to see your face. You're not opening your mouth. Open your mouth when you speak English. If you try to speak like this in the winter of 1960, you're not going to sound right. Open your mouth. In the winter of 1644, nearly half the settlers died of starvation or exposure. Do that again.
In the winter of 1644, nearly have the scler- sclerosers.
Settlers.
Can you say it again?
Settlers just divided,
Settlers
died,
died of starvation or exodus.
exposure, exposure.
Exposure.
Yep. Okay. All right. What is the subject of that phrase? I mean, not of the phrase. What is the subject of that clause? What is the subject of that clause?
Okay. Um. um, in the winter. In the winter is the phrase.
Young lady, how can it be in the winter if that's the phrase? Remember, we said there's no subjects and verbs and phrases. So it can't be in the winter. So what is the subject? Who is doing the action? Sure. Okay, let me help you.
Okay.
Where's the verb? What word is the verb in the main clause?
Strut south.
No, what is the verb? Where's the verb?
Diet.
Died. Who died?
That's so the slutcher.
Settlers. Settlers.
Yes. Settlers.
Right. That's how you can tell what the action is. Excuse me. That's how you can tell what the subject is. You always go to the verb and ask yourself, who did the action? Who died? The settlers died. So what is the subject?
The settler.
There you go. What's the verb?
Died.
There you go. Okay. Now, you see two types of introductory phrases. Remember, phrases do not have verbs in them. All right. It says if the introductory element is brief and it can be read easily without the comma, it can be omitted. Again, just put the comma there. In 1649, comma, the settlers abandoned the initial outpost. Okay. Now you're gonna see that like in 1649, you're gonna see people not put the comma there a lot. Okay. For me, I would not put the comma there because it's so short. In 1649, the settlers abandoned their initial outpost. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Use a comma to separate coordinate adjectives. Coaches grew weary of running practices in the drafty, dreary, dilapidated gymnasium. Okay, so the coordinate adjectives are these: drafty, dreary, dilapidated gymnasium. Okay, you're not going to do that in English, so this is not one to worry about. You don't normally run so many adjectives together. The designs for an expensive, comma, modern gym can make them happy or should make them happy. Okay. You got two adjectives together. All right. If you could put a word, a but or an and between the adjectives, you should put a comma between them. So that's a kind of a trick, so you know. Coaches grew weary of running practices in the drafty and dreary and dilapidated gymnasium. So I could put the word in front of those. The designs for an expensive and modern gym should make them happy. So if I could put the word and or but in between two adjectives, then I need the comma. If I can't do it, then I don't need the comma. All right, so it's showing you here that in the case of a little old house, you wouldn't say a little in old house. We just say a little old house. So you don't need a comma between little and old, because we don't say little in old. We say little old house. We don't say a little in old house. We say a little old house. Okay.
Okay.
A lot of this you know just from reading. This will be the last one we did. Use a comma to set off elements that express contrast or a turn in a sentence. The house was cute, but too expensive for the newlyweds. They were looking for something practical, not luxurious. Okay, so in that one, let's go back. So in that one, the ideas. Now, one key to always remember is that it's always about the ideas. The ideas will always guide the grammar, okay, and it guide the sentence structure too, because the sentence structure can change your idea. The simple sentence, the compound sentence, the complex sentence. All right. So it's all about what idea you're trying to express, which will dictate the punctuation you use or the sentence structure you use. Okay. The house was cute, but too expensive. So it's a contrast or a turn in the sentence or a change in the sentence. They were looking for something practical, not luxurious. Okay. These are kind of the harder ones. Okay. But you'll learn these over time in your writing. And it actually makes your writing stronger. All right. I think yeah, let's do this real quick. We also use commas for dates and separate cities. Now you're gonna know, you definitely need to know this for the first semester. Okay. So between cities and countries, you need a comma. Between cities and states, like in the United States, we have states. So Chicago, comma, Illinois. Geneva, comma, Switzerland. So Geneva is a city, Switzerland is the country. Chicago is a city, Illinois is a state. Okay. Now let me point you to something here. On the first sentence here, is a mistake here. They should have put it. The conference was originally set for Geneva, Switzerland, comma, but it should have been the word it. But it was then scheduled. Why? Because we need that subject, right? We always need subject and verb for a clause. Okay?
Yes.
So this should be it. The wedding date was set for August the 5th, comma, 2000, comma, in the college chapel in Newton, comma, Massachusetts. Newton is a city. All right. So you always put a comma after the day in the year. Okay. All right. Tashonda Klondike, chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, submitted the committee's final report. You will need this for the second semester, I believe. You see these two commas? You see those two?
Yes.
All right. When you see two commas, pay attention. This is very important. When you see two commas in the middle of a sentence, that means a couple things. Number one, it means first that any of the words in between those two commas is not necessary. So you can read the sentence without those words, whether it be a phrase or a clause. Okay. So I can read this sentence without reading the words here. So Tashonda Klondike submitted the committee's final report. Anytime you have a clause or a phrase, typically it's going to be a phrase, but it could be a clause too. In between two commas, what they're doing is modifying something in the sentence. In this case, remember we said don't be afraid of the word modifying, just means describing. So in this case, the two commas are modifying the subject to Shonda Klondike. This is called a noun phrase or a positive. You're going to learn that in I believe, the second semester. This is called an appositive. An appositive is a noun phrase that modifies the subject or a noun. In this case, Tashonda Klondike, it tells us her job or her role or responsibility. She's the chair of the Ways and Means Committee. Notice these are all the main words are nouns. So we call this a noun phrase. Okay. So the key thing I want you to know is that in between two commas, it's always unnecessary and you can delete it and read the sentence without it, without changing the meaning of the sentence. Those words are typically always modifiers. They're modifying the sentence in some way, meaning they're describing the sentence in some way. Okay?
Okay.
We call them interrupting phrases. It depends on what their role is. But rest assured, anytime you have words in between two commas, you do not need to read it. In this case, like this in this case. Okay. This is called the noun phrase. Why? Or an appositive, because it's telling you about Tashonda Klondike, who she is. Okay. And again, you don't have to you can omit or delete the words between two commas because they're not necessary to the main clause. The main clause here is Tashonda Klondike submitted the committee's final report. Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's a lot that we covered today. You have any questions?
No, thank you.
All right. So so are we coming online tomorrow at 1?
Okay.
All right. What I want you to do is in your Google Classroom, I'm going to upload a punctuation worksheet. And I want you to complete that punctuation worksheet. And we'll look at it tomorrow. Okay. So check
Okay.
your Google. I'm gonna upload it now.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.